I'm going to take you on a hike here in the Highlands of Scotland, which just might change your perspective of life. We're going to talk about how I battled with my mental health, with neurodiversity, with having to live in a world which just isn't made for you. I understand what it's like. I'm not going to give instructions or do this, do that. I'm just going to share with you what's worked for me. So talking about things in my life and how it could work for you. Because it really is darkest before the dawn. You know, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling just rotten, if you're feeling like there should be more, if you're feeling like, man, is this it? Why do I feel like this? My name's Paul MacIntyre, the Tartan hiker, and I understand. And we're going to go for a hike today, a couple of hours, and talk about it. I'm also going to talk about a lot of nonsense. There's going to be no cuts, no fancy drone shots, just you and me going for a wee walk. It might be shite, but you might learn a thing or two, and I might learn a thing or two. This summit is the summit of Auchinleddon Hill. It's in the Kilpatrick Hills in Scotland. In fact, it is right here. So if you want to come and experience it for yourself, you can do that. And at the end of the video, I will post all of the coordinates, all of the route map, the information you'll need to come and recreate this hike for yourself. It's quite an easy one. Perhaps quite a long one. It just depends where you are in your journey. So let's go for a wee hike, and you're going to hear me put the tripod up and down. You're going to hear me and see me move it because it's just real, you know. And that's what, when you subscribe and watch the Tartan Hiker, that's what I want you to experience. Just a content creator that does things real for once, you know. And the first real thing I'm going to do is get my gloves out of my bag. Oh shit. There you go, that's how professional this is. It's just so professional. Just Oscar worthy. So, gloves out the bag, because even though it's the height of spring, almost summer, it's still blooming cold. And I hope you're ready to go for a nice hike. We're going to go around the reservoir. We're going to see some amazing sights. There's sometimes at this time of year crazy birds, seagulls, who, as we say here in Scotland, who will go for you, meaning they will attack. And because I want to maintain eye contact, I want you to see my eyes. I'm not going to put sunglasses on, so just know that I don't normally look this old and wrinkly. I'm screwing my eyes up so I don't get blinded. Oh goodness, but no, I mustn't. I want to see you, friend. So the talk and task at hand. The subject, as far as soothing our mental ails, is one that's very close to my heart, really, and it's getting to know yourself and understanding why you act a certain way. And I came across this. I came across myself doing something recently which got me all thinking about this so much. And it was the fact that I always felt like I had to be funny. And that's something which a lot of people might not notice as an issue, but I got it. I seen it in a new light. And by the way, I'm going to just simply talk about how I discovered these things and about the issues in my life, because I don't want to just say, you do this, I figured this out, so do this, here's what to do, because that's bullshit, man. You're an intelligent person. You don't need me to be like setting instructions, you know. You learn as a human by observing and modifying to fit your way of life, what you want, where you are in life. You can just about see the reservoir coming up. And if you watch any of my videos, you will know that I never remember the names of anything. I think it's Black something. Black Waterfoot. No, that's Black Waterfoot's a place in the Isle of Arran here in Scotland. I don't know what it's called. And let me tell you, I've been around it literally dozens of times. And look at this. Isn't that wonderful to get by? Oh, someone has rather rudely cut a hole in the fence. These fences are meant to keep deers out for getting into these new young trees that have been planted, because deers like nibbling the pines because they can't eat the adult trees. They're too jaggy. Jaggy meaning like spiky. But these young'uns, not as jaggy, so they eat them as they're growing and they fail. But we'll get in now. So let me get you on the side of the water. Like you can see it later. I'm right-handed, but realising I always felt I had to be funny. It's something that, you know, making content was really shown to me, because I would just be filming a normal video. Maybe I'm just talking, but I always felt like I had to go like or do something wacky, or I'd film a good video, but then I had to put something hilarious in it, which, you know, there's no problem being funny. Of course, everyone has their funny moments, but it's when you use it as a, oh well, I better do a funny now, you know. And that's what I've been doing my whole life. You know, when I grew up and I was a wee kid, I was always the biggest kid in school. I was bigger than all the other kids. I was quite bulky, chubby, but I wasn't a fighter. And a lot of kids were, and it was a way, and a lot of people in the neighbourhood, and it was a way, being funny was a way to kind of disarm conflict, because I was terrified of conflict, because I got it in my house, you know, from my dad, from, well, other family members. I don't need to get too much into that, but and all around, you know, because growing up in a poverty-ridden place, there's a lot of crime, and there's always just a vibe of imminent threat about, and I just successfully used comedy, being funny, to get out of it. But then, you know, you get to being an adult, and you know, then all that childhood trauma that I have, and that if you're seeing this video, I'm sure you maybe have, is under there needing dealt with, and unfortunately most people don't, but it can show itself in many different ways. And I just, even though I was now safe, I was still desperate to avoid conflict and to just be the funny guy, you know. And it gets you to a place that, you know, yeah, you get friends, you know, I did, and, you know, you be popular, but it wasn't like totally real, if you know what I mean. Because when you're the clown, people want you around for their entertainment. Like, I would find that I was just, I might have been in with like the popular folk at work or at school, but I wasn't one of them, you know. I didn't fit in as one of them, and it wasn't really a major problem because I wasn't one of them. And as a kid, and I'm sure you can probably relate to this, man, I didn't feel like I related to anyone in school. Hardly anyone I ever met. But sometimes there would be some kid or some person that was just on that wavelength, you know. And that wavelength was probably, or almost certainly, a scale of autism. But because it's like like gaydar, there's kind of neurodiverse dar. you just get a vibe with certain people, which is, you know, probably why I got into the metal scene and became a heavy metal guitarist, and got into Metallica and Slipknot and all that kind of thing. Still am. Not Metallica though, fuck Metallica. But it just, you know, it stays with you, that trying to be funny all the time when you don't have to. And I caught myself recently, I was making a video. Actually, I'll show you the video here. Here's the video I'm talking about, then we'll talk about what the issue is. So how about this for a good day? I slept for 10.5 hours last night. I woke up and it was sunny as hell, and now I'm out for an amazing day. So at the end of the video, when I'd done my video, and I just had to go, because I just thought that's not good enough. That's just the real me there. The people need me to be a moron. The people need the clown, because I'm just a clown. That's all I am. And if you look at my content, the short form content, so much of it was just me being a clown, feeling like I had to do certain things to be seen. Like I wore a kilt all the time, and you know, I'd do this big accent and I'd jump around like I was some sort of, you know, having a epileptic fit Billy Connolly. And I just really caught myself, man. I was like, dude, you don't have to do this anymore. But getting to that point, takes a while, you know. I'm 42 years old now. And don't get me wrong, that is in no way, shape or form old. And I don't in any way feel old, because I'm not. You know, I'm very fit and strong, and, you know, take care of myself. And I've got fat recently because I had a real kind of a hard year when I had a bit of a breakdown again, and I deleted my channel, and I deleted my entire business basically, except for my adventure coach part of it. If you don't know what I do, I'm an adventure coach, like a personal trainer, but for folk who want adventure. I help them plan it and stuff like that, and check it out, tartanhiker.com/adventure coach. But apart from getting a little bit fat this last year, but I'm down 9 pounds in 7 weeks. Forgot what I was talking about, god damn it. Yeah, feeling I have to be the clown, yeah. Back in that early content, just, it's a suit of armour. I know it's so cliched with comedians, you know, people trying to be funny all the time, whose living it is to be funny, and I used to be a stand-up comedian. I wrote sitcoms for a long time, didn't get any of them made. I felt I was close with the BBC one time. I had a meeting with BBC Scotland about making a show I'd written, and a meeting with the head of comedy there. Didn't work out, but he wanted, with that one, yeah, that's another kind of, call it neurodiverse or whatever issue. I would always get things, I would have a goal to get something, and then when I got it, or got up very close, I was like, oh shit, no, get that way, I don't want that. It happened with that, you know. I was on the radar of the BBC as a writer, and I was going to be starring in the show as well. And I was going for auditions. I went for auditions for Still Game. Didn't get it, obviously, but I was on the radar, you know. Folk knew who I was. I was a stand-up comedian, performing at the Stand and various venues. And so yeah, I was on the cusp of perhaps getting a show made with the BBC, and then after that meeting I just never done anything again. I was on the cusp of getting an agent as a stand-up comedian. Some guy came up to me, I don't remember his name, but he's like an agent, a stand-up agent, and he was like, oh, I love your stuff, and he was saying he could get me, he'll represent me, whatever, but and then I just, after that, I never done stand-up again. You know, do you ever get that, man? You think you want something so hard, and then it's about to happen, and you're just like, you know what, I didn't want that, man. I just like to chase. And I guess it was similar to that, why I cancelled all of my content. 9 months ago, I just deleted everything, man, because here I was being the clown again, you know, just wearing that armour. Please don't hurt me, I'm funny. I mean, do you know how many comedians are actually manic depressives, man? I mean, it's a shockingly high amount. Because it's something which you're going through, you've been through such trauma, and you realise you can ease that trauma by making your persecutors laugh. And it's actually quite sad when you think about it. I was just always trying to be funny because I was hurt and vulnerable and wounded and scared. And so, I mean, if you recognise that in yourself, let's show you these lovely trees. If you recognise that in yourself, maybe you've never thought about it, you know, so hopefully that can give you a wee window into, oh, maybe, you know what, maybe. And before I get back into that, I want to show you something. I love this. You see down this part to that reservoir, you can see where the water used to flow and go right in there when it was, I know it's a reservoir now, but it used to be some sort of natural thing, natural body of water or loch. We don't call them lakes in Scotland. They're called lochs. And so yeah, the water comes right down here through there, and it used to go down there, and it also used to go right down here towards a place called Carbeth, until it was all tamed and made into a reservoir where people fish in. You have to get a permit because we own the fish. Fuck off. But so since realising that, and honestly since that video, which I made maybe 2 months ago, yeah, it was March, it's May now as I film this, May the 5th. May the 5th be with you. And I've actually been making an effort to stop trying to insert funnies everywhere. I mean, obviously I'm just fucking hilarious and it can't be helped, but just to try and stop using humour almost like a full stop, you know? So like, don't worry mate, you don't have to make it funny all the time. And again, about the people don't take you serious when you're always trying to be funny, and it's also the fact, it's also true when it comes to a second to make this tighter. It's also true when it comes to relationships. You know, I find it very difficult to speak to girls when I was a kid, and to be fair, I rarely did. But it was fine, because I was just so into my stuff, you know, I was so into my projects and my adventures and my sports. I just didn't care. Yeah, I fancied girls, but I was never that interested in But when I got to the point I was interested, you know, I could make girls laugh, yeah, but they never go for the guy that just makes them laugh all the time when they're that young. Or maybe I'm not right in that, but you know, when all you do is try and be funny with a girl, I just think it doesn't work well. At least that was my experience. He's like, but you're just a funny guy. It's similar to making friends. They just have you around for entertainment. They don't take you seriously. I was always that one whenever I was in a group of friends, which didn't happen that often. I mean, or didn't last that long, because I always stuck out like an absolute sore thumb because I was so different from everyone else. And I don't say so different like some sort of, oh, I'm just so wildly different, as in it's a good thing. I just mean I was always just so different from everyone else. I always found people so boring, and I would see that the boring standard cookie cutter folk were the ones that were like the most popular in school, that got most girls, that hung around together. And I would just think, but how? Like, I'm pure interested, you know? I could tell you all this stuff about space, and I'm a great artist, and I know all these cool facts, and I know all this stuff about science, and I can make all this stuff, and I go on all these adventures, but yet I would get no friends, no girls. But the ones who were boring as fuck, who all dressed the same, looked alike, fucking were into the same shite, boring ass crap, I don't think they were even really into. They just wanted to fit in. And I would just look at it and I'd be like, man, how can this be? But now you get it. I'm coming to a wee... So we came down the off Auchinedon Hill here, and it's onto a path. Here we are, onto some nice rocks, rocky road, and that's why I chose to wear these approach shoes. These are the Salewa Alp Trainer 2, I think they are, and I like to wear approach shoes for hiking rather than trail runners a lot, because they're waterproof and they have this, you see the protection around the edges of them. It's just really good for when you're on rocks like this, because, well, of course it's for approaching a mountain when you want a kind of lighter shoe than a boot, or you're going to use like trail runners when you get to the actual mountain itself, but it's a kind of really rocky approach, or maybe you need snow boots, whatever. They're approach shoes. Not traditionally worn for normal hiking, but I like doing it. They're a bit stiff as well. Not too stiff, but I like it. Because I think the problem with trail runners is, well, I don't want to get my feet wet. I don't want to run the risk of getting a blister. I mean, there's a time and a place. I wear trail runners plenty, but for today, somewhere where I knew I was going to be pounding rocks, and like this is probably the best it's going to be. Once we get further on, it's going to be really quite rough underfoot. So that's why I want a kind of harder shoe to go easy on my feet. And I'm running a marathon in 2.5 weeks, the Edinburgh Marathon. And actually, by the time this video comes out, I will have run it. So here's how it went. I've considered doing videos where I don't talk, which I may do, but I just like the therapy of talking to you, you know, of just sharing the things that help me, and, you know, talking about the nonsense and just being on a hike with you. Right, let me pull my nose before I get back to what I was saying. So I don't know if this format would appeal to many people. I swear there's a bee that's been following me the whole bloody way. Behave yourself, mate. But I don't know if this is a format, you know, the no cuts, moving the camera all around, that anyone would really take to watching. But to be honest, I don't care if people take to watching it or not, because it's what I want to do. And I just think it's high time that YouTube, social media was rescued from influencers, and it was rescued from perfection, because when you see such perfection all the time, you know, you see these wonderful looking hiking videos and other videos which are filmed on like Canon fancy cameras and fancy edits and drones and all that. It's nice, but it's a detachment, you know. It's trying to say, look at these, look, I've set up this to look perfect for you. But I just want to just jam, just talk. And my brain honestly doesn't have the concentration capability to make such videos, you know, to set the camera down and, like, imagine this, because this is what these videos do. Set the camera down, then you walk, then you have to turn back and go and get the camera. Now that's just, it's just kind of dishonest in a way. I mean, it's not that bad, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's no sharing your actual experience. I mean, I'm sharing this actual experience with you right now. As it happens, no cuts. And so if it turns out a bit shite, if I do something wrong, if I get lost, if I say something I shouldn't have, then it is what it is. It's almost like a live stream, you know. Look, here we are. If you ever decide to come here, this is part of the John Muir Way. I think it's Sir John Muir, but the John Muir Way, and it's quite a long, actually a really long national hike here in Scotland, and it goes through my favourite area in the world. No matter where I've been in the world, in Scotland, I've done a lot of things, I've hiked in a lot of places, a lot of mad situations, but the Kilpatrick Hills, right here in the lowlands, almost Highlands of Scotland, is my absolute favourite place on earth. It's where I grew up, learning my trade as a professional hiker. And sometimes people have a problem with me saying, well, a professional hiker, they'll comment, how are you a professional hiker? Because I get paid to do it. Simple as that, you know. You know, I used to be a guide, and I still guide clients sometimes. But you know, I'm an adventure coach, I'm an author. My book, check it out, Found Outside, How to Create a Life of Adventure. A content creator. It's what I get paid to do, so I am literally a professional hiker, thank you very much. And here's where I learned it all. And even on beautiful days when everyone's heading up north to Arica, to Tartan, to Crianlarich, to Cairngorms, I say go, because I'm going to come to the Kilpatrick Hills because it has everything a person needs. And if you're watching this and you're from around here, I say from around here because 75% of people in Glasgow are a 45-minute or less drive from this area and Loch Lomond. So come check it out before you think of all the other fancy stuff. There's no massive Munros or anything. The highest hill is Duncombe, which you would have seen in my previous video, right here. Don't create a life where you're just yourself. Don't make the same mistakes I have. I of course can't remember how high it is. It's this high. And trust me, I'll get back to talking about all things mental health and stuff in a sec. But that's what I do in my videos. I just rant, I just talk, man. And like I say, it's just like a live stream, except it's no live. I just love coming to a place I know. There's a heron. And talking about getting lost, I've went the wrong way. I intended to do it the other way round. See, I'm going to go around the loch, but I was going to go the other way, but I guess I'll just have to do it in reverse, because I was too busy chatting to my pal. So there we go. I could just go back, but then that'll muck up the GPS route for showing you what way to go if you want to come here yourself. So forget it. Forget it. Here we are. This is whatever this loch is called. We're here. And here was where I first experienced the hell that is clegs, which is what they call them here in Scotland. Horseflies, you might call them, wherever you're from. I was swimming in that water just around the way with my dog, and took my gear off, and then later on I realised I'd been feasted upon. And clegs, some people don't get them as much, but some people like me are absolute delicacies to these wee fannies who just eat me alive. And I'm absolutely covered in bug spray now, because I ain't dealing with that, man. They're the absolute worst, and they can get the wounds get infected really easily. Anyway, here I am talking about infected wounds, and we're supposed to be enjoying our hike and talking about how you improve your mental health. One last thing before we get back to it. My last video on Duncombe, the hill I was just talking about, that's it right there. I'm probably no pointing at it, so I'll get the camera up. Right there, or I'll put an arrow there so you know what it is. So when I was talking to you up there, and this is what's down here. Isn't it beautiful? And this is a 10-minute drive from Glasgow. So I say to so many people, man, why are you driving so far to go to the Highlands when you could just be here, mate? You know, enjoy what's at home. I've always been a big, whatever the word is for that, for people to just, not for people, I mean, I don't care what people do what you want, but for me, I've never seen the point of, oh, it's a hiking day, let's drive for 2 hours. Yeah, I'll do it if I'm going to be tour up Highlands, and you know, I do it of course, but the majority I'll enjoy what's around me, because wherever you are in Scotland, somewhere like this, I promise you, is close. Doesn't matter where you are. So I don't see the point of always taking yourself away. That's why I've never been for the whole Munro bagging thing. Like, if you don't know what that is, it's the mountains in Scotland over 3,000 feet high, which have a drop of 500 feet or more at all 4 sides of the summit, get called a Munro. There are 282 of them, and many people make it their life's goal to climb all of them. It's just a great goal. For me personally, I don't think it's a great thing to do, because in order to get to them, you have to drive by so many amazing places, so many amazing hills, and just because they don't make the height grade, they're deemed lesser. That's just no for me. And you know, I have climbed a lot of Munros, a lot of them. I don't think I've climbed all of them, but I don't take notes on anything. I used to really beat myself up about that. I've not noted down any of my adventures. Not even times where I've hiked across entire countries. But now I'm just like, nah, because it's just who I am, you know. I can't be arsed taking notes or, you know, having a diary or a journal, whatever. And I tried so many times. And I'm just like, you know what, it's no me. I'm the way I am. Forget it. And with that, we swing back to the subject at hand, which is no trying to be funny all the time. We're going to be going right around here, around and back up to the trig point where we started, and we're going to get attacked by birds when we go up to the dam here. So I've made a conscious effort to not try and be funny all the time as a standard. Unless, I mean, of course there's a time and a place to be funny. But I'm just not going to push it. Like that full stop, like I said, you know, like that. Okay, here goes with the funny part. It's okay to not be funny all the time. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people like my content because I'm funny. And I will always continue to you know, it's just who I am. But if there's no funny in it, I'm not going to push it. And I said, you know, I've dropped the gimmicks, I've dropped the kilt and the socks and the suspenders and the Billy Connolly exaggerated voice, and I've let go of writing, planning videos like I used to, like this video, the how to use hiking poles one, which I think is, to be fair, my best video, which I posted a year and a half ago or something. I would never make that video now, I don't think. Because, you know, it's the thing with social media, you don't, if you want it to be your career, you can't just be making people laugh. It has to, you know, you have to have a way to support yourself, and if you're just pumping out entertainment with no way for people to invest in you, then you end up being one of these influencers like that just have millions of views and followers but don't make any money. And what's the point of that? And before, when I was here for a year before I quit, I thought, it's got to stay so pure, man. Left out so many chances to build a better life for myself and my family, you know. But look at this, private fishing members. We own those fish. Piss off. Okay, you know what? There's people coming up, and I'm not going to stop filming because it's just something I have to get used to. Is filming when people are around, and I'm not going to stop talking either. Here's the fishing club. Queen Elizabeth Angling Club, members only. Only members can sit in those benches. So you understand why. You pay a membership fee to use the place and such, and to maintain it. But I don't really agree with, oh, this body of water, we own the fish in it. No thanks. You can't own someone's life, something's life. But so if you notice the Tartan hikers stuff not being as wacky, that's why, you know. I'm going to go on a wee, this is kind of off-piste. If you come here, you want to check this out, you just go down here to see, there's normally a wee waterfall coming out the dam, but I guess it won't be falling because it's been pretty hot weather here for quite a while. Yes, Scotland gets hot. There's this myth that it's just always raining. This is just untrue. But as well as thinking you have to be funny, there are other things which you think, oh, I have to do that. And people pleasing's are one of them as well. Just being so desperate to not offend anyone. And that's also a defence, that's also a form of armour. Because you're trying to, again, avoid confrontation, and trying to always be funny can be born from trying to avoid confrontation as well. But there's a wee building down there. I don't know if it's worth checking out, perhaps. It's hidden in there. It'll just be a wee... It's probably where they open the dam. They have a little thing to release it. Okay, so we've ticked over to 3 miles now. Look at this view. Through the glen, Ben Lomond, Scotland's first Monroe, the first Monroe of the Highlands, and that's the very start of the Highlands there, just before Ben Lomond. That's Loch Lomond, and we can see Arica behind it, the mountains of, I'll put arrows, but the Cobbler, Ben Vane, I think it's Ben Dhu maybe. What else do we have there? Ben Vorlich. Loads of bends. But anyway, I can hear the wee water falling. I purposefully came the wrong way, off piste to see it. Oh wow, it's getting really hot now. Right, can we see over this? Ah, there's the water down there. You can hear it falling. There's the wee building I was talking about. Will we go and check it out? Let's go and see what the wee building's all about. Hope this angle works. Just exceptional camera work, I know that for a fact. Just an absolute professional YouTuber here. This I can hear a lot of bees, so I'm worried I'm near a beehive here. But here's the building. Don't know if it's go-inable. I can hear water flowing inside. So it must be something to do with the dam. I expect there'll be controls in here and such. It is of course locked, unfortunately. Is there a way I can see in? No, but yeah, I can hear so many bees or wasps or something. So maybe inside this building there's a nest, as it is. You won't hear it on your part, but it is deafening. Let me put the camera up to this wee hole, see if you can see anything. Can you see anything? Hello? I don't think so. Okay, gotta get out of here before these bees get me. Actually, I need a pee, so... Oh gosh, they're everywhere. I'll let you enjoy the view. Well, I do number 1, not 2. I'm going to get away from these bees. Then we'll get back to the subject at hand. But it's all about the adventure, it's not just about me talking pish. There you go, enjoy that little RP. Sorry if you hear it. Oh, I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these last few years. I've been afraid that I might slip away. I've been telling old stories and singing songs that remind me of where I've come from. That's why I've seen so far away today. Oh, but let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. There you go, that was my song to cover the sound of me pishing. Right, we'll go back round. Go up, and wow, it is hot. Let's see if my Garmin can tell me the temperature. 27.4 degrees. Wow. It is scorching here. But okay, and there are people coming, and I'm going to keep filming. I'm not going to shy away. You know, I really fear I'm just going to have to put my sunglasses on at some point, because I am getting absolutely blinded. And there's the top of the dam, and there's the water that comes down. But you know what, actually I'm going to go back up the way I came, because I want you to see the dam. If I go this way, which I said was the wrong way, there is actually a way you can connect it, but I want you to see the top of the dam. This is another place that I used to come with my dear old dog Lola. There's basically nowhere I can go that doesn't remind me of times with her. She passed away recently, and oh, she's always in my mind. Wee Lola. But we're on the subject of people pleasing now, because that's another one. It's the fence, isn't it? It's armour. And it doesn't mean, you know, you might think of a typical like pushover, but not necessarily, you know. Again, it's all for trying to avoid confrontation, man. Just trying to first off be funny, and then just try and give the other person what they want to your own detriment. And I used to be like that. I spoke a bit about this in my last video. I ended up going quite to the extreme other side of it. Too far, in fact, that when I started, you know, becoming sentient to how much I'm just giving in to other people, I then became super confrontational, and I almost look for confrontation in certain ways, like how is this person wronging me? It's just another layer of dealing with trauma from the past, you know. It's just, you've just been hurt, and now, you know, now you're super aware of anyone you think is trying to wrong you. And here we are back up at the reservoir. Let's see what. Here's the name, Burncrooks, not Black something. Burncrooks Reservoir. I've only been here maybe 300 times. Burncrooks Reservoir, Carbeth, Stirlingshire. Grid reference, this. So there we go, Burncrooks. You would think because I'm such a influential, just unstoppable, phenomenal YouTuber that I would have done some research, but no. I decided I was coming here when I was in the car. Kind of a good thing about when you are so versed in Scotland, been out so many times, you know, you can just get in the car and start driving and you go, you know what, I'll go there, that sounds nice, I'll do that. There's a wee guy fishing here, so I'll give him his piece. I won't talk, but I'll film myself. Hi there. Hiya. Afternoon. I mean, although I do need to get better at filming where people are around and not getting embarrassed out of it. It also is still the wilderness and it's their day, and I don't want to interrupt it. Oh, look at this. We'll go up and have a wee look here, will we? Oh, crikey. This gate's normally shut. And I've got a wee feeling this man fishing might give me any trouble for coming in here, but oh well. Better to ask for forgiveness later. Can't believe there's no a Scotland flag there, man. I'll not go too further, but it's nice to finally be able to walk over to this bit after so long. And I mean, my goodness, look at the views. So you've got the Burncrooks Reservoir, then all the way down there you've got Loch Lomond and Ben Lomond, and count me and my new beard. Something as well that I'm trying to get a grip of is the kind of wee laugh after you say something. You say a wee joke or a wee something and go, you know, that is a way of kind of saying, you know, I just want to let you know that was a joke, and please don't shoot. It's a kind of advertisement of your vulnerability when you do that wee or a joke, you know. It's like, it's kind of a shame. Nose blow time. My nose blows a lot when I am exercising. And I may have to charge this battery as it's going. Never had to do that before. Because I have had this DJI Action 4 for a year and a half, and I bet that's, you know, it's programmed to break down now, so I'll buy the DJI Action 6, that's how it works. So I will. But there's no birds here to attack me today. There normally is, when I come through here often when I'm running ultramarathons, training for ultramarathons or just trail running, whatever, I usually have to take off my bum bag or something and spin it above me to chase them away. But right, this isn't actually the best way to come. The way we were earlier, down there. See, we were down there, and it connects to the path which goes around. That's a new path. Well, I say new. I've been coming here for a long time, and by new I mean like maybe a decade old. But you come this way, you're going to have to scale a fence. If the fence is still here, I've not been here in a long time. Wee guy fishing over there. But I went a different way, like I say, about from being so desperate to avoid confrontation to being like, hey, fucking come on then. Confront me, will you? Always on the lookout, who's trying to get me, as I say, because it's just a trauma response, you know. You're just looking for, okay, who's trying to hurt me? I'll get them first. And that's something I still struggle with, and I'm sure you probably feel that as well. Or should I say, there's a lot of people that feel that. Looks like the fence is cut away here, so I'll be able to get in no problem. Aye, you see, I used to have to scale the fence, but someone's cut it down. It's very often people who come with dogs and they can't get their dog through, so they just pull it down. And honestly, I think the people who make these deer fences have a responsibility to make dog entrances. A lot of them do have them, but a lot of them don't. And access isn't just for people, it's for doggies too. People bring their doggies and people can get into trouble. And I've been there, hike a long time and get to a bit that is impassable for dogs. So you have to yank the fence up from the bottom, squeeze your dog through. When you go look about and try and find a bit where that would work. Sometimes you can't find a way and you're stranded and you have to go all the way back so as to not damage the fence. Oh, this guy's caught a bite. I'll try and zoom in, but I don't know how this camera works. Yet again, proving how I'm the most professional YouTuber on this platform. I don't know how this camera works. I don't know where I'm going. One thing I'm going to do from now on as well is stop apologising for how long a video is. I used to always say, well, thank you, if you're still watching, I don't know why you would be, but thank you, fuck that. It is what it is, man. These are my style of videos. I mean, I know this is only the second long form of this new format. Or should I say, it's not really. Before I deleted everything, I had dozens of videos like this, but it's me walking and talking, amateur as it is, whatever. Another fisher person over here, and so yeah, that going from avoiding confrontation to actually looking for it, man, it's a really toxic trait to have, and it is, like I say, just a total reflection of pain. The amount of people, man, throughout my life I pushed away because I just thought, what's their angle, man? How are they trying to hurt me? What are they doing? What do you want? And other people assured me, oh no, they're fine. They just want to get to know you. They just want to whatever. And I'm just like, nah, don't buy it. You're trying to fuck me over in some way. And they weren't, mostly. I mean, of course there are people like that. But it leads you to, or it's led me at least to, just go into every interaction with someone new, or even someone that's already been in my life for a while, sometimes years. Go into every interaction with an already negative opinion on what they want is, and on them. And you know, well, when it comes like an event or something, a family event, or meeting up with someone, I just, have these arguments with them in my head, and it's like, well, if they say this, I'll say this, and that'll just destroy them, and they will be set in their place, and they can't hurt me. And it's a shame, because it's like, as was the topic of the last video, I don't have friends, I don't have a lot of people around me, and I have a very small family, like my brother and dad, and that's it. Well, some other kind of fringe family, uncle, but yeah, I don't have friends I can just call on, and I'm going to change that, man. I'm going to change that. But dude, like, if you're going through this too, just let me, like I said earlier, it really is darkest before the dawn. When you just take responsibility and just think, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not every single person I meet. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe it's something some perspective I have. It's looking for confrontation, man. It just keeps your hackles up. Like when your dog's, I think this is what it means, but when your dog is like angry or something, the hairs in the back of the neck stand up, and at the top of their tail, or on their lower back before the tail, just primed and ready, Look at this, before I get back into that, a wee ancient building. I'll go have a look. I say building, this could very well have been an old sheep pen. Local materials built. It's almost certainly a sheep pen here. You can see possible entrance, get them in there. Maybe it had a fence, two different ways maybe to, separate the male for the female or something, who knows. But it's not the foundations of a house, that's for sure. Look at this wonderfulness. Oh, it's hot. Should really have a hat on, covering my face, because when you go hiking you should always have a big hat and sunglasses, because I don't have, because you can't put and shouldn't put sun lotion near your eyes, because when you sweat it just drips down. Now look at this area. There's another place where the water is cut through and used to come through here until it was made a reservoir. I just love that, man. Look at this deep, peaty, black water. But I can't stay about here too long, because where there's still water, there's beasties. Oh gosh, look at that fence. I mean that wee bridge. Can you see it sunken there? I used to walk over that. That's right, this way used to be different. I'm going to go down there. I'm tempted to go and have a look in there. No, I better, you know what, I better not, because I better not, because why? Because I'm making a video. Because my battery's going to die and I want to try and get us back to base, back up to that trig point before I wrap it up. This is my hay fever as well. You can see down there where you used to go over the fence and then over there and across the wee bridge, what's this now? Underwater. Aye, we were talking about, oh excuse me, it's just so hot and I'm on an incline now, 4 miles in, but aye, when you go in with your hackles up, you know, I found that I expected the worst from people, and if anything ever happened I'd be like, yeah, see, I knew it. And it just makes you, you'll go into yourself and not want to socialise with people, because you get so ready to be angered or offended or whatever, and there's no way to live, man. And that for me, that's probably like a product of where I grew up, the situation I grew up in. My parents were so bad at that, or so good at that, if you say, just criticising everyone and expecting everyone to cause them harm, and it of course comes from a place of trauma for them. My dad's parents were alcoholics, and his father treated him horrendously, stabbed him in the lung, punched him out unconscious, made his life hell. His mother was very controlling and an alcoholic, and you know, my mum, she never knew her father. He left. He was Indian, and he left after a few years, and he never saw her. She never saw him again, and so her mum remarried, and never saw her as his daughter, and just treated her badly. And she fled the home when she was 16 to be a live-in au pair, babysitter, whatever you call it, for a family in London. And then the dad and the older son tried to sexually assault her multiple times, so she had to flee that. And it was amongst many other things. And you know, it's just, and that's what therapy made me really wonder, where does forgiveness lie for people who have hurt you, who have been hurt themselves? And you know, like, my dad was clearly autistic, neurodiverse, and where does forgiveness lie, man? And you know, my mum died of alcoholism when she was 51, full of rage, man. My dad's still alive, and as he is still alive and maybe watching this, I don't want to get too into stuff about him, but he was through a tough time, and he put us through a tough time, and my mum. I remember saying that to my therapist, where does forgiveness lie? And he didn't really have an answer. I'd be keen to know what you think about it. You could say, well, yeah, you've got to just take responsibility, but it's hard for people who've been through so much to take responsibility when they're just so full of rage. Then you push that rage out at others. Now I'm going to stop at the corner here to stick the charger in this camera, and I really hope I don't stop it, because I've never charged it on the go before. I'm worried the battery could pop out while I'm doing it. So if it did, then understand that's beasties. Understand that's why there was a cut. There's Duncombe again, closer this time, where I filmed the last video. Yeah, we're coming to a wee beauty spot here. I'm going to get a wee drink and see if I can charge this sucker. Am I just ruining the view? Oh! Got a bunch of food as well, but no one wants to see me eat on camera. I get really freaked out if you've seen people eat. Right. Let's see if this is possible. Enjoy the view while I do this. Okay, we're charging. Great, that means I have to hold a battery pack up. I normally film some short form first before I do this, but I'm just so over short form, man, really am. And I'm going to start leaning towards hardly doing it at all, and long form's always been the goal. Oh. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have a roll. And you want to see it? It's hummus and olives. And I'm going to sit here. And I'm going to put some music on for you. There we go. Talking about my mum there really made me think about how I'm here in this very moment thanks to her. And she passed away in 2015, and I guess I'm ashamed to say I don't think about her as much as I used to. There's kind of a guilt in that. But you see, she being trapped in her home situation as she was, she would read these books about adventurers walking across countries, and a pregnant woman walking around the world, and she introduced me to all these shows like Around the World in 80 Days and these documentaries about adventurers. And it's quite sad because she clearly had that yearning for adventure in her. I feel so sad that she never got the chance. Because when she finally did leave my dad, she became an alcoholic and she never got to live out her dreams, and she passed away at 51, and I'm only 9 years away from being her age, but it obviously rubbed off on me. Her having me watch these things with her, and although I didn't read the books at the time, she would tell me about them and I'd be fascinated, and I would go out in my local area and go adventures and just kind of dream of being one of those guys. And none of this, being here, as you can see me stood there swatting away flies and eating a roll in hummus, none of that would have been possible without her exposing me to those things. And I don't know why I don't think about her as much as I used to. I miss her. I wish she could see this, she would love it. She loved YouTube. And she was always so proud of the adventures I'd get up to, and she would pretend that she was worried for me, but she loved it. Love you, Mum. I'm still thinking of you. Oh, I got a wee bit of reprieve there from the sun. To have a roll on my face. Got a nice wee shadow coming above us for now. Yes, a wee bit of reprieve from the sun. Right. Hope you didn't mind that wee bit of music there. Nice to get a reprieve from me talking pish as well. Oh, I guess you could say that's something I need to stop saying, I'm talking pish. And if you're not familiar with the term, it just means talking nonsense. Talking pish means pee if you're not from these isles. I'm walking and carrying this. Oh, this might fit in my pocket actually. A sec. Wait a second. Just. There we go. Oh yeah, bugger. Oh, I opened it toward me, of course, because I'm pretty mind-blowing, to be honest. Right, battery wise, 27%. It's not went up, but that's probably because I'm filming. I always find eating such a hindrance when I'm hiking. Same when I run ultra marathons. A lot of people eat. I can never eat, man. I'm a Fanta and energy gels kind of guy. But where does forgiveness lie? That's what we're talking about. Oh, actually, there's a wee wind coming in. It's actually kind of cold now, unbelievably. But aye, where does forgiveness lie? If someone's hurt you, you know. Because you would want forgiveness if you'd hurt someone. Then I've hurt people. Everyone's hurt someone. And you want forgiveness, but Is it forgiveness for just being an asshole or doing the wrong thing, or is it forgiveness for, oh, it's not my fault because this happened in my upbringing or whatever, you know? Because it's kind of true. You are who you are because of how you were raised and the people you surrounded yourself with or were forced to surround yourself with. So you're a product of your surroundings. But I guess a person has to take responsibility for bettering themselves or educating themselves, because yes, you could have been grown up in those situations, but it's up to you to try and counteract the damage it's done and doing. I guess as I done myself, you know, I got out of I grew up in real poverty and got out of that. I educated myself. I went to uni and stuff a bit, but it was never for me. I could never handle studying. Managed to make it to third year of uni without studying once. I cheated my way to it, to be honest. Came up with excuses to the deans of the university and such. Oh, my granddad died, blah, blah, blah. Probably heard it all before, but I would literally steal other people's work, and I remember I snuck into one of the lecturer's offices because we were talking to him once, and I saw his list of like essays of people in the class and essays and who's handed it in, who's passed with merit and such. And then I went back when he wasn't there, and I ticked my boxes, gave myself merit, passed the course. It was an access course thing for university, but a HND Business Administration. Oh. But most of my education was done by myself, from books, and I used to listen to Tony Robbins' Personal Power 2, which I downloaded from LimeWire. I would go to lectures and stuff. If someone was giving a talk on something, I would go, you know, I just learned how to do things myself and learned how to better myself, so I guess there's personal responsibility. But when it comes to personality, I guess that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's the harder thing, because where and how do you realise and start fixing yourself? Because I mean, for me it compounded from, it really started hitting me, my mental issues at the age of like 20, my mid-20s, when I realised this isn't what I had planned, man. I wanted to be what I am now, a professional adventurer, but I didn't know how to go about doing it, and I wasn't there, and it was really awful. And I thought I wanted to be a musician, and I wanted to be fucking everything, man. But you can't be everything. Where are we at now? 90 minutes, an hour and a half. Wow. Get to the top of this wee climb before I continue. My charger been in my pocket isn't working. I have to carry it, which is rather annoying, but a lesson has been learned. The battery isn't charging, but I guess it's just been powered from this. a lot of freedom comes from, what I found for me, comes from just when I just decided, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility for all this. You know, I think these people being an asshole, I think this situation is a problem and it's causing me this or that, but you know what, I just said, okay, let's just say it's me, which by the way it was mostly, probably 80-20 me. Maybe these people aren't out to get me. Maybe this thing is my fault, whatever it is. Let's look inside, let's look at myself. That's where we were. There's a little fisher's hut over there. There's the little dam looky-ooty thing we were at. There's the hill where we came from, Auchinendon Hill. I don't know if it was Auchinedon or Auchinendon. As I say, I don't know things. I just walk. Taking responsibility for things. Assuming you're the one in the wrong. Giving people the benefit of the doubt. Those are the things which really helped me. And then all of a sudden I would turn up to these events with these people who I previously thought were out to get me, were out to fuck me in some way. I'd go in expecting them to be nice and for everything to be great, and would you believe it, it was. Would you believe it? They weren't out to get me. Because, you know, neurodiversity and especially autism gives you a real sense of that you're being conspired against. That people are talking about you. And you know what, people are talking about you. It doesn't mean it's all bad. And that brings me to the next thing, which is how you talk about other people in your private life. Not just people you know, but strangers as well. You know, I was very much brought up like this to just make fun of fucking everyone who was doing anything different, man. So why would you wear clothes like that? Why would you make that choice? Why would you go here? Why would you go there? Why would you do that? He's not doing everything. They're not doing that right because they're not doing it the way we're doing. You know, that's kind of how I was raised. And that's when you start talking negatively about other people, you start thinking negatively about them. So I started to just eradicate that from my memory, from my mind. If I felt like, oh, I'm making fun of that person, they've got like stupid hair or whatever I thought it was, which I'd never say to anyone's face, you know, it was just, I would maybe say to, you know, friends, people around me, whatever, look at the state of that, look at there. These people, oh, no, that's the thing with these people. It's, when I think about it, it's pathetic. It is utterly pathetic to spend, I mean, you have this supercomputer in your head, Paul, and you spend so many years just worrying about like the state of someone's fucking shoes or how someone lived their life or whatever. And I think it comes from that, you know, just, not that all people living in poverty are like this, but certainly for when I was growing up, it's perhaps a way to make yourself feel better by bringing other people down. And if you're not happy with your life, bring other people down. In my household I grew up in, my father was very racist, very homophobic, full of hate, hated everyone, very bigoted against, you know, other religions, and I was told these things were the right way to be, and don't worry, they didn't take, because my mum wasn't like that, my the other family weren't like that. It was just my dad, really. But it does, when you grow up surrounded by a household surrounded of people with hateful views, having hateful views rubs off on you. It could be seemingly innocent, you know, like I say, making fun of, I don't know, goths or whatever. Not that I make fun of goths, because I love goths and I grew up on that scene, but you know, just the critiques. There's jovial fun, which I still do, you know. Harmless fun, like someone trips, I'm laughing, okay, as long as they're alright. Someone has a daft hat, you might have a wee chuckle, but it's nothing with malice behind it. You know, like, you'll just be having a conversation with my dad, and he'll suddenly bring up something unbelievably racist or homophobic or anti-Semitic or bigoted, and I'm beyond the point of, you know, trying to correct him or whatever, because what's the point? I just ignore it and move on. I know some people would say, what is it, ignorance is compliance or something like that, I don't know. But the fact is, he's not even like that, you know. He really isn't. He says these like racist things, but then where he lives, he's surrounded by migrants. You know, like migrants who've been housed there, who live there, kids go to school. They've been accepted as immigrants to this country. And he's so nice to them, and he gives them things, he gives them food he doesn't need. Like during COVID, he would get the relief package, big box of food every few days, but he didn't like the food, he didn't need it. He'd take a couple of things, and he would dish it out to like the African family that lived next door, the Chinese people, the Middle Eastern folk, and he's always so nice to them, and he doesn't even believe these things, man. It's just so ingrained in his head. Bless him. He's been through so much pain that he can't realise what he's doing. He's just expressing his pain. Oh wow, look at this. These trees you can see here, they're islands. The water is so high that you can't see them, apart from that wee one that's got a couple of ducks on it. You know what, here's a wee story. I have a niece and nephew. I had a niece who was really into adventuring with me when she was younger, and we would go all over Scotland. She's just a wee tiny girl, you know. I don't have kids, so she was like my daughter, you know, still is. And I love her dearly. She used to be so into this stuff, and I dreamed of getting a wee paddle boat and going out there and camping one night. And I had all these plans set out, but then when she was about 8 years old, she got a phone. So I'm just checking this if this is charging. She got a phone, and that ruined it. She's about to turn 17 now, but she got a phone, and suddenly she didn't need her Uncle Paul for entertainment. You know, she'd come round to mines and we'd have all sorts of fun, making paper mache frozen stuff, and like the musical. And I say we come out to do big adventures. We've actually been here, but as soon as she got her phone, that was the end of it, man. She wasn't interested in going out anymore. I seen her change overnight. You know, her attention span change overnight. Her desires to do things outside, and whenever I come by this bit, it makes me sad. because I feel like I lost her to that phone. Is it being a bit dramatic? Maybe. But she really hasn't been like around to want to do those kind of things anymore, and I guess that's fair. She still clearly loves me very much, and I her, but I just had this dream of her and I, you know, her getting older and coming out and doing this stuff and seeing and doing the things I never got to do when I was her age. But you know, there's still time. She'll turn 17 in a few weeks, and maybe she'll come back to it. But when you get that age, you have your own things going on. I didn't want to hang around. I was about to say I didn't want to hang around with my uncles when I was that age, but that's not true. My uncles were barely there, but when they were, I was just in awe, man. This person who was like so grown up, but they're actually like 4 years older than me. I just loved it, man. But yeah, I still have those memories, and of course she's still here, and one day her and my nephew will have kids, and I'll bring them out to these kind of things. Another nose blow. So we're close to completing the loop around Burncrooks Reservoir. I put my glasses on my head to try and tame my massive head of hair, which I'm sure is all over the place. And they'll watch this while editing and be like, oh my goodness, Paul. I'm also worried about, because I'm a bit thin at the front, and when the hair blows back I look thinner. But it's been a good chat today about, you know, you don't always have to be funny. It's like, what are the things you do to cover up what the real problems are? What's really wrong? It's just all rooted in pain, isn't it, man? It's desperate, like I say. So we were talking about this constant need to be funny. We were talking about the need to avoid confrontation, which can then lead to the need to chasing confrontation. Oh man, yeah, it's just such a constant sense of anxiety when you're just like that, and you're like, oh, who's going to mess me up now? I'm ready for them. But I wasn't ready for them. I was pretending. It's like with this, how all these activists must be so just dying inside, and I get it, man. You know, I mean, I'm a vegan, okay? I don't eat animals. I was for 16 years, and I went back to eating meat for various reasons for a few years, and now I'm vegan again, and I always will be. And before, I remember when I was so into veganism and so into environmentalism and fucking any ism you can imagine, and my life was just so miserable, man. It was so miserable because I was so aware of the heartache and the problems in the world, and it gets so overwhelming because you go vegan, but people eat billions of chickens a year and cows, and you know, you hate racism, but see how rife it is and how much it's exploding in these countries. You know, you see what's going on, and certain countries with the genocides and stuff, and you see how the environment's been wrecked, and it just tears you up, because no matter how many protests you do, or what kind of little differences you make in your life, you're not going to scratch the surface, and it's a massive issue that you can't possibly influence in any meaningful way. And that just, it's a problem that can't be solved, so it just, you know, it's like a blender to your inside. So I think that's something that I really looked at, that you might think about if you of that kind of activist mentality, which is very, very noble, and it's from the right places, and it shows a phenomenal heart, but it's only going to lead to more and more pain. Now, this might be a controversial thing to say, but you need to have a certain amount of ignorance to the things that are really going in the world, things that are really going on in the world, in order to, you know, have true happiness yourself. Like the saying, ignorance is bliss. Well, I think ignorance with you doing a little something, you know. Maybe have one vegan day a week. Maybe make sure you don't buy anything from a certain country in the Middle East, you know, and instead buy it from the country that they're oppressing, you know, like maybe don't visit the place where, or endorse any, or buy any products from the place where the orange man lives, you know. Like, just wee things with a dose of ignorance. Do what you can, but don't let it take your life, you know. And you absolutely could argue, well, there's people out there who have made massive change. True. So if those people who made massive change had taken what I just said, they would have never made that massive change. That comes down again though to change. Oh, you know what, I'm not going to get into all that, but here we're back on the John Muir Way. And we're headed that way. You can go up there for some more fancy fun further up into the Kilpatricks, but I'm headed this way. And the last time I was here was maybe a year and a half ago, and I made this video right here.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Wait till you see this. I've been hiking here my entire life in Stirling, and I've loved this forest since I was a wee lad. I've not been here in a few months, and look what's happened. The forest is gone. I used to play there, I used to go with my dogs there, I used to climb trees. This is where I cut my teeth on the Sir John Muir Trail, and it's gone, and that's fantastic, because you know what, these trees will be planted again. This forest will rise again, but in the meantime, I could just enjoy the new views that I've never been able to see before from here. And I look forward to once again walking through this forest when I'm an old man. I just love it.
It is, of course, a timber plantation forest. Whenever I talk about them, people are always quick to comment, it's not a forest, it's a timber plantation. It's a splite of this country. This is absolute bollocks. There's plenty of life in timber plantations, and they're there for 30 or 40 years. And they are essential essential to Scotland's economy. We're a tiny wee country, and one of the things we do really well is grow trees, and so that's what we do. We've got vast uninhabitable land which can take a vast amount of trees because the soil is very fertile and very wet. So that's how we do it. And here are some facts about the timber industry in Scotland, and because I don't want to get any of them wrong, so I'll just research it afterwards. But very important to Scotland. And the roads like we're on now, I mean, this is a timber road. This is made for trucks to get rid of these things, and when they leave the roads for us hikers to walk on, so I have no problem with it. Folk always like to moan that, oh, Scotland used to be covered in native trees, and yeah, it did, and that's great that it used to, but in order to have this modern day economy, we can't have that. We can't just have lands not doing anything when people need jobs. Like, people in the Highlands of Scotland really struggle for jobs and for infrastructure, and the infrastructure for the timber industry is just so vital to those living in the Highlands and Islands, so I'm all for it. Obviously it'd be nice to see more native forests back, which they are. They are planting. There's actually one, excuse me. What do you think of this? They're planting this timber forest, native forest, and the people that were planning it and planting all the trees will never see it because it's going to take 250 years for this forest to grow. So, like, not only will they not see it, but their kids won't see it, their grandkids won't see it. It really is quite something to make an effort like that to something you'll never see the bear fruit, perhaps literally. And what's nice about this place as well, about the timber roads, is they take down, like say, like this place is an old quarry. I used to run through here, and this used to be stacked high, filled with the rocks and stuff for making the roads. And they just take it from the little, what would you call it? The little patches of rock. They just cut them up from the source to then make the roads. I love that. Right, we are back. Remember this? The loop is officially complete. We're back at the Kilpatrick Hills sign, and now all that's left to do is to head back up to the trig point where our adventure began 114 minutes or so ago. What we're charging at still hasn't moved. So we're talking about the need to not be so funny when it doesn't matter. And not always seeking out confrontation. This, have you ever seen it? This plant is called gorse. And if you ever do see it, it's very spiky. It can be a bit of a nightmare, but if you rub the petals, it smells of cucumber. That one didn't for some reason, but they normally do. But having been privileged enough to to be able to, you know, get out of poverty and have therapy and go through all this and, you know, do this for a living, it makes me just, it really cuts me up to think how some people will just never escape, you know. They know something's wrong with them, but will never be able to fix it. And to be honest, it's most people who have an issue, it's just the devastating reality for them. And so much, and sort of late, I've just been realising how much, or how thankful I am for one, for getting out of poverty, because man, that was tough. And I realise now as well with my parents, you know, they never wanted to say no to when I wanted to do a thing or have a thing. Well, my mum, should I say, because my dad spent a lot of money on alcohol and stuff. But you know, you just think they're being mean, your mum's been mean for not buying it, but no, actually she wants to, she just doesn't have any money. It's tragic, man. Poverty, it just changes you, you know, and I'm still changed to this day from it. Not changed, it's who I am, I guess. And my brother is always saying to me, and my wife always saying to me, you know, you're not poor anymore. You don't need to worry about trying to like just not enjoy yourself for every single occasion. Because that's something I always do, man. I always try to like deny myself things. It's like I don't feel I deserve it, I think, in a kind of way. See, I just need to check. Ah, shit. I need to check if I've missed my turn off here. Because I'm busy chatting. So where are we? Let me check my Garmin. No, I'm on the right track. How dare you not believe me, Paul? But yeah, it's like I just always feel like I'm one purchase away from being poor. It's like, no, I can't buy that thing. Like I wore, you know, I run, right, and I've been wearing running shoes that have been falling apart for months. And I've got a marathon coming up, but I'm like, no, I can't just keep running in these. And you know, they're totally worn away at the bottom, worn smooth, and almost at the point where my foot's coming through them. And I just have to tell myself, look, mate, it's okay. You can afford to buy new shoes. It's not going to make you poor. I'm like, okay, alright, yeah, of course, aye. Of course. Right, fine. I need to check this Garmin again. I think I've missed this. Aye, I bloody have. There's just a wee offshoot in the middle of the trees here it's hard to get it. But I can see there's trees up there that I can't get through, so I must have missed it. But yeah, that fear of being broke again, you know, of going to like get benefits, like I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's humiliating. They purposefully try to. It's a good job I have very strong ankles, because I went right over on it there. But they purposefully try to let you know you're a piece of shit, you know. This must be it. You see how easy this was to miss among the trees? How many times I've done this, I think I've missed it every single time. But aye, so just understanding that, I mean, maybe you get that as well, that you're just so convinced, or just so in that poverty mentality, even though you're out of it now. Again, it's self-preservation, it's trying to protect yourself from further pain. Oh, to blow my nose again, man, this is absolutely epic viewing this, isn't it? Some beardy twat blowing his nose every 2 seconds. 6 miles. Well, there I've caught myself in another one on the topic we're on. And that's talking down about yourself. Not just to yourself, but to other people, like asking for forgiveness for who you are. You know, like, you ever find this when someone maybe gives you a compliment on something and you'll be like, oh no, it's rubbish. It's not as good as you know, no, mine's is rubbish. Oh, like, no, okay, no, it's nothing, it's not that good. You know, just saying something like, oh, you know, I'm such an idiot. Don't know what I'm thinking, I'm such a this, I'm such a that. It's like, you're all right. Paul, you're fine. So I'm focusing on that, I'm focusing on trying to not always insert a funny when it isn't needed. Trying to not push for, not try to be people please, but also not try to expect people to mess with me, you know. It's like, you're alright. Expect the best from people. I mean, I've heard that said so many times by folk giving life advice. You know, give people the benefit of the doubt. Assume people will be good, and that is the exact opposite of how I was told to live. I was told and brought up to assume the worst from people, and one of the reasons I quit social media last time was because I couldn't handle the negative comments, and that was just from a minority of people, but I just thought, well, that's fucking just what it's like, but it wasn't. And I used to, reply, oh, you're fucking, here's my response, which is just the dumbest thing. I don't respond to anyone now who gives negative comments, I just block them. Or use a comment to make a video based on. Oh, on a spicy wee climb here now, back up to the hill. And they're made even spicier because I have to talk at the same time. Well, I guess I don't have to, but oh, you can see how far we've come. But if you have any ideas for these videos, for how I can make them better, or things you'd like to see, please do let me know. Do let me know. The essence of everything we're talking about is really self-acceptance, isn't it? If you feel you always have to be funny, then you're not accepting who you really are.
because we want to insert something else in for the benefit of others. If you want to people please, then you know you're putting what someone else wants above the needs of your own, which of course there's a time and a place for, but you're again not being yourself. If you're looking for confrontation in order to protect yourself, you don't really want confrontation, so you're not really being yourself. And if you're out of poverty but worried about going back there, then you're not living in the present, you're living in the past. You know, I could be back there any minute. And if you could strip back the things that just stop you from being yourself, without ultimately saying, right, that's it, I'm going to be myself from now on. And it's just self-help bullshit, man. No, you don't need that, you don't need fucking mantras, you just need to be like, is this really me? And by the way, you get to a point like I did after therapy, right? I realised all this. I brought to the table, to the surface, all the childhood trauma stuff, and I was told I was neurodiverse and what have you, anxiety, ADHD, autism, and I dealt with a whole bunch of things, and I felt after it I didn't know who I was, and that's what led to my breakdown. I was like empty. I just thought, well, who the fuck am I? Yes, these negative traits, negative things in my life can be put to bed, but now at 40 years old, who am I? And it was a good place to get to, of course it is. But when you realise your whole life was you acting like someone else, was you living your life kind of as a character, you know? And a lot of people, you know, will just wear that forever. You know, people who are just always sad, always angry, people who like are so into their football team and it's their whole life. That's a shield. That's armour. You don't support Celtic that much, mate. You're hurting, and you get to shout at the other bad teams, so you only want your team to win. The other bad supporters, you know, you're a grown man with a replica football jersey on because you're hurt, because you feel you've done fuck all with your life. Some people get covered in tattoos and cut pieces of their ear and their tongue off and split their tongue up the middle. Doesn't mean anyone who gets tattoos is covering pain, but I mean, I'd say if you go to extremes, maybe that's controversial, but I think that's a kind of, and I don't want to sound like a dick like this, you know, because I know people who are completely covered in tattoos, you know, and it's like, that makes me think there's something going on, you know, something that poor person hasn't dealt with. It's a kind of armour. But we all wear an armour, and it's no different someone being covered head to toe in tattoos all over their face and all that, to someone being like me, just pretending I was someone else for so long and pretending I was like this funny guy idiot, and being so angry and confrontational. Life's about the filters, man. You filter all that shit out, you peel back the onion, That's just what it comes down to. Peeling back that onion, man. Till you get to the wee centre, and a lot of people never get there. The wee centre being who you really are. You'll catch yourselves at times like slipping back. Like earlier today, before I came here, I had to go to the shop to get some stuff for the hike, and I thought, well, you can see what I'm wearing, tartan leggings with the shorts, and I took the leggings off, just put the shorts on because I thought, oh, people will see me and co-op and think that, oh, I'm an idiot, like stay to be he's dressed. But I caught myself, and I was just like, what are you talking about, Paul? Who cares, mate? You're better than this. Even if you do think, what are they really going to think? Huh, tartan leggings. And that's it. Who cares, man? Plus these tartan leggings pay the bills, baby. But it is a tricky place to be in once you clear it all. And something I never thought about was that when I get over these issues, I'm just going to be like a blank slate human being after 4 decades on Earth. It is, and it was scary, man. So what am I going to do? Who am I? I know I'm a completely different person, man. And I hope if any of these issues are applicable to you, and I guess they are if you're still watching over 2 hours in. But as you can see, the whole way we've went around Burncrooks Reservoir. I know the name, Burncrooks. But yeah, if you resonate, then I say just the starting position is just being self-aware of what's going on, being self-aware that, oh, I'm doing this to myself. Well, yeah, I'm like that. Or, oh, why am I trying to make jokes all the time? Why do I expect everyone to fuck me over, you know? I digress. I'm going back around in circles here, but right. We're almost back where we started. So I can put this battery pack away. And I'm so thankful for you being here watching this, I really am. Because part of what I'm talking about, what I've been talking about today, is completely applicable to my content, to this style of video. Because it's me saying, well, the most successful videos are those where, you know, they do have the amazing camera work and shots set up and, you know, the drone footage, and, you know, it just looks like a person walking effortlessly. And but I'm saying, well, that wouldn't be me, and it wouldn't be real, because it'd be setting up shots, it would be a movie. But now I'm here with you and I'm just talking. My goodness, I've been talking for how long now? 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I could talk to you all day. But I don't know if you can see in the distance, but the trig point where we started is right back up there. And after that, well, actually, not changing topic again, but yeah, it wouldn't be me, it wouldn't be true if I made videos like that, even if they might do better. I'm not going to put on a personality. I'm not going to put on anything or do something in a way that isn't true. I'm just going to do my thing. And if people watch it, great. I can share my hikes. And if they don't, then that's okay. Because it's a snapshot in time for me where I am. Because it's like talking just straight from my brain to myself, you know. You can surely see the trig point now. Thank you, truly. You've got this far. It means the world to me for you to spend 2.25 hours with me. Because I guess this is kind of a podcast, really, isn't it? Because I'm talking. It's been a real good hike, real nice. And once I leave you at this trig point, I'm just going to mosey on home. I'm going to hug my dog and give her a wee sweetie every time I come home. I'm going to hit the gym for a big stretch. No working out today, but I always stretch. A big stretch and a sauna session. Because I'm training for that Edinburgh Marathon. And here we are, dude. Can you see the trig there? I know what you can see. I don't even know how to use the settings on this right, but I promise I'll get better at it. Stick with me. Here we go. Right back to the exact point we started. It's been, I feel good after that. It's like therapy for me. I hope it's like therapy for you in some way. Because we just need to be honest with each other, you know. You, me, everyone. Can you imagine what the world would be like if we were just honest to each other? So, I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to go for a wee view. Remember, you're you, man. Just be you. Or be as much you as you think you can. Here's some music. And while I chill at the top of Auchinedon Hill, I'll just have a wee chat as I enjoy watching myself back. And as I watch myself back, and as I can make this content, which is truly the content which makes me happy. I mean, I'm sure you discovered me from short form where, I have to be quick and getting to the point, but it's really nice to just, relax with you and just enjoy the content I truly want to make. And as I watch it, it's I can see the little boy in me
Because you probably don't, well, most people probably don't get to sit and watch themselves for hours, and it really gives you a different perspective of, seeing you from a different angle. Because there's no acting, there's no trying to be something I'm not, and talking about these subjects, I see my vulnerability. I see that a wee boy, that wee boy that was so scared for so long. And, well, to be honest, still is. One of the things that really I'm so desperately trying to let people know is that I'm not this big, fearless adventurer dude out here doing this stuff by himself. I get it a lot of comments saying, oh man, you're my inspiration, and I wish I could do what you do. It takes some balls and things along those lines, and I just, man, I'm not that isn't me. I'm always scared, man, just throughout my life, from a kid to now. I'm just always looking for the next thing that's gonna hurt me, and I just, throughout my content, as you join me in this journey, I hope I can get across to people that you can do this too. And not just this, maybe you're literally not able, but you can do things which seem out of the realms of what is possible for you. I'm no one special. I'm just some guy, and the reason I don't talk a lot about the things I've done adventure wise, the things I plan to do, is because I don't want anyone to feel intimidated by that and feel so far off. That's something which stopped me for so long from really living the adventure life I wanted, because I would look at these women and men doing amazing things, and I was just at the beginning, and I just thought, oh well, man, my stuff sucks. I'm not, hiking across the world or cycling across the country, man, or of racing around the world. My little hike in the Kilpatrick Hills is nothing, man. What's the point? I want to be an adventurer. I want to do these crazy wild things, and it just kept me in stasis for so long because I felt I was so far off these people. I just so want people to know that it's achievable, and it doesn't matter what I've done or will do. You have your own story. If I could go back and speak to me at the beginning of my adventure journey and say that, I would have enjoyed it more. Here now, a gnarled old veteran. Okay, I'm not old, I'll take that back. But a gnarled veteran. If I was to go back to myself when I started all this, man, I would just say to that kid, just start with something easy. Don't look to the side at what other people are doing. Just start with that first step. Just do that something. Because your something is your everything. And I have a saying, I coined my saying, which is anything is everything. That's all you need, man. You just need to do something, anything, because it's everything. It's 100% more than nothing. It's your journey. That's what I wish I understood back then. I'm truly honoured you spent this time with me. And I'm going to just walk off camera here and be gone. See you later.
Got you. See you later.